Well, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Kylie and I welcome you tonight to the warmth and comfort of our sanctuary in the hopes that our Shabbat can brighten your spirits and give us all special ways of remembrance and hope and thanksgiving as a very special week is coming forward for all of us. So, Kylie, what would you like to begin with? Am Yisrael Chai is a beautiful one. As we began our Shabbat, as we always do, lighting our memorial candle for the hostages in the hope that, please God, one day soon, 101 will be returned to us, either in body or in soul. Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. The people of Israel live with challenges, but ultimately with the greatest of hope that the world will change and our challenges will lessen and our blessings will increase. Always on Shabbat, we begin by lighting the Shabbat candles, and it's traditional that the women of the family join together in lighting. We have a great grouping of women in our congregation, and from the youngest to the youngest at heart. And if you feel up to it, I'd love to invite all of you forward to come light Shabbat candles. That's right. Yeah. Jeff, we're going to just do the women right now. Oh. Thank you. We'll do the women, then we'll do the men. Okay. Who's all dressed up? Bless the honor. I think we're continuing with Chadodi, and we'll do the Kiddush at the end of our service. So we're going to turn, I believe, to page 100 and, is it 38? For Lechadodi, as we welcome the Shabbos bride or the Shabbos queen to enter our doors and to bring the beauty of Shabbat. Page 138.
For
We rise and face the doors to welcome the Shabbat. And we face forward, we turn to page 146 as we continue with the call to worship, the Baruch Hu. And we're going to continue with Shema, page 152. Be seated, and we're going to continue chanting with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושפך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. And we turn now to page 157 and let's read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory, may earth reveal your justice and love. From
bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your purpose.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
And we continue on page 158 with Micha Mocha. The music of Shabbat sometimes raises our energy and brings about all the song and tapping and clapping that we can find within us. At other times it can be mellow and quiet, signifying that life itself has its peaks and its deep, deep valleys. And Shabbat is a little taste of what can be when all of life comes together and we realize that while there have been tremendous challenges, there has also been tremendous blessing. And so the song on page 160, the Hashkivenu, is much like a lullaby. Indeed, it reminds us that what we all seek is that chuppah, the canopy of peace, that finds peace of mind, peace of body, and peace of spirit. And please feel free to join me in the English in the middle of page 161 as we read the meaning of these words. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, and over our Jerusalem and yours. We turn to page 162 for a melody that will once again fill our spirits, Vishamru.
Vishamru, Bnei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, v'dodotam berit olam. Vishamru, Bnei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, v'dodotam berit olam. B'nei Uvin, B'nei Yisrael, B'nei Yisrael, oti li'olam. Vishamru, B'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, v'dodotam berit olam. Ki sheshet amin asah Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru, B'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, v'dodotam berit olam. U'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru, B'nei Yisrael, et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat, v'dodotam berit olam.
And we turn now to page 164. It is time for tefillah, and I would ask that we rise, please.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Onurah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zoher Hazei Avot v'Imaot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atavrav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chayim v'hesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei holim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, U'mido melach, Melech memid u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lechayot hakol,
Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Then you may be seated. On page 173 we read, "May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat." Always in our service, we pause for a few moments of our own private and silent meditation. We're told that while the written word of the prayer book helps us to touch on every aspect of our life which we may often forget or take advantage of, or perhaps take for granted, the prayers of Shabbat are to remind us of our priorities. For some, we need no reminder. For others, it is a jolt. And so it is that we're told on Shabbat, so important is it for us to delineate what is important to each of us, that we are, in fact, never to ask God for any favors on this day, never to petition God, never even to bargain with God. But what this day is meant for is actually exactly what the pilgrims knew it was meant for. They were people of the Bible, and therefore the holiday that we're about to celebrate this coming week, the holiday of Thanksgiving, is a biblical holiday which the pilgrims, as they knew their Bible exceedingly well, took from the early Israelites and the festival of Sukkot. It was meant to be a harvest of bounty, and indeed, if anyone looks at a Thanksgiving table, there is so much bounty and so much harvest. But the one thing that is often forgotten around the table is the thanksgiving, is literally the ability to verbalize, what are we thankful for? We are cognizant of who will be missing and what we are missing, but we also must give thanks for who is right in front of us, who is next to us and surrounding us. And therefore, we're going to pause for a few moments so that we can find some inspiration within ourselves to take us through the Shabbat, the coming week, and to put us at that holiday table filled with somber yet joyful gratitude. We pause for a few moments. I was reminded last week, after the different challenges that we as individuals and as a nation faced just a few weeks ago, and how many are delighted and how many are still struggling with the choices that our country has made. And so what I decided to do last week was keep it light, that what we need on Shabbat is not more rhetoric and not more heaviness of what the world is bringing and the challenge and the sadness, but instead perhaps we should just look and find some interesting Jewish teachings. And so last week I shared some information on Jewish superstitions. What are they and why do we partake in them? And I thought it would be wonderful if we could continue the discussion, because each time we come together in a congregation, people bring new superstitions to the forefront. Something that perhaps their own families participated in, or they themselves did but had no idea why they do it. And I was reminded of a beautiful story about a great-grandma who was teaching her granddaughter, her great-granddaughter, how to cook the family brisket. And they all gathered, the generations, in the kitchen, and they were preparing the brisket with all of its spices and all of its needs. And at the very end, before putting it into the pot, great-grandmother cut off the very end and said, "This is a tradition," and put it aside, and the rest of the brisket went into the oven. But the great-granddaughter, who said, "That's a perfectly good piece of brisket at this expense. What do you mean you're cutting off the end?" And the grandmother said, "That is the way it has always been done. My mother did it that way. My grandmother did it that way. My great-great-grandmother did it that way." And the granddaughter said, "Well, do I need to do it the very same way?" And they said, "You certainly do, when the pan is too small." So for years and years and years, the end of that brisket was cut off, all because they didn't have a pan to fit the whole one. So in the lightness of Shabbat, are there any other additional superstitions that perhaps you grew up with, that you remember, or you still do to this very day? Yes.
I feel my mom's presence, because she passed away, and sometimes my watch stops, but then it continues to go on and on.
Is that right?
Her presence is there.
Do you know, sometimes people say there is definitely a belief that in some way those that we have loved return to us. For you, it's through your watch. For others, it's through many different items and feelings and ways. Any other thoughts?
Whenever you go over railroad tracks, you have to lift your feet up, unless you're driving.
Is that right? I never heard that one.
I learned it when I was a kid, and I
Really?
don't know why.
Oh, Kylie, we have to find out. Did anybody else ever hear that? Whenever you go over a railroad track, you lift up your feet? You have? Oh, I don't know that one. Well, that one would not necessarily be in the Torah, as the railroad tracks would be a hard thing to find, but we certainly could find camel tracks and wagon tracks, so we will have to look that up and find out why it must be. Perhaps it was that feet were not to touch the metal, because metal is non-porous, and therefore was thought to hold all of the evil spirits that would just jump along the metal. And that could very well be. Kath?
I don't know if it's a superstitious thing, but in our family, we were always, if it was your birthday, you couldn't open your card until it was your birthday, or your gift until it was a birthday. And I don't know if it was a superstition, but it's definitely been passed down, right?
You have to wait.
You have to wait.
You have to
until
wait.
it's your actual birthday.
Absolutely. And that is a superstition, but that's a really very true Jewish teaching that you can never count your blessings until they're actually happening. And therefore, you wait until the moment that you are given, not in anticipation, because we don't know if we'll be lucky enough, because every day is a gift. And we don't know what will be gifted. So that's actually a beautiful tradition. Beautiful. Any others? Michelle, forgive me for picking on you, but as a woman who's expecting, were there ever, and did people tell you any kind of superstitions? Yeah. That's exactly from Jewish tradition, right? The whole idea that you never count on until once it's here, you shower it with all the beauty and glory that's yet to come. And this little one, I'm sure, has no idea. Otherwise, she'd be coming very soon for the love and gifts and gratitude that will be. Well, then let's talk about what I always do a check-in with my teens each and every week. It's fascinating to find out what they are confronting. Some of it is very harsh and hard, and others, of course, are what we would all remember as our teen angst, all of us. And it could be even that we are lamenting what is happening in the sports world, or we're celebrating what's happening in the sports world. So is there anything that anyone would like to share with us that was a special good happening this week? Oh, yes.
I'm going to be selling a birthday in 2 weeks.
You're having a birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. That is exciting. Birthday's coming up. Because it doesn't matter, I don't care what age it is, we're all glad to reach the next one. Absolutely.
I'm going home for Thanksgiving. I'm going to pay house.
Oh, you're going home for Thanksgiving.
Pay house for Thanksgiving 4 days.
That's very exciting. That's wonderful.
And I'm going away for a week.
And you're going to be away for the week?
Yeah.
Well, whether it's around a Shabbos table, or whether it's just sitting with family, or whether it's with our congregational family, it's always nice and wonderful to check in and just to make sure that the world will not face you alone, that we are always with you, and that our faith and our tradition is always there to uplift us in special ways and to remind us that, in fact, like that good, what is it, PR firm said, life is good. And indeed, it is. Well, we're going to turn to page 586 for the Aleinu. So I would ask you all to rise. Please, Jeff, you want to come up and help us open the ark doors? Come on, gentlemen, come on up. You'll help me open up the ark doors. I'm going to ask that we please remain standing. For always during our service, we remember those who are no longer physically present with us, but who live within our hearts and with our memories always. On this Shabbat, we are commemorating the yortzites, the anniversaries of those who died at this season in years past, as we remember Roger Klott, Martha Coleman, Philip Dix, Jerome S. Engel, Nicholas Feldman, Herman Francis Friedman, Harold Hoffman, Lillian Kaplan, Lillian G. Greichman, Jeanette Marks, Barbara Goldbarg Malamed, Drew Miller, Renee Pichon, Anita A. Schwartz, Abraham Schwartz, Jill Skolnick, Elliot Stemple, Alfred Sweetwood, Morton Teitelbaum, and Ruth Wiesel. If there is anyone else who is commemorating a yortzeit and would like to share their name, you may feel free to do so now.
Nathan Stone,
Thank you. We always remember those who have been taken from us in recent days, and always we remember those of the American Armed Forces and the Israel Defense Forces who have given their lives in defense of our nation and its freedoms and the land of Israel. And so we thank God for the lives we've been privileged to know. No matter the length nor breadth of their life, they have all made an impact. Page 598. We recite the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'hayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'agala v'izman kari v'miru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam amaya Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramar v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemeda kudusha b'rechu le'elam mimko birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata ta'amiran b'alma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba mim shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Oseh shalom v'imramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We pray that the source of peace will send peace to all of us who mourn and comfort all the bereaved, as we all say. Amen. You may be seated. We always give a special welcome to those who are joining us over our live webcast. And it is always so fascinating for us to learn who has been watching and learning and singing together with us. We are thrilled to have you and hope that soon you can return to the sanctuary in comfort and be embraced by your temple family. We always think of those who are in need of extra healing as well, most particularly those who need health of body, mind, or spirit. So if there's anyone that anyone is thinking of this Shabbat, in your heart or out loud, please feel free to share a name.
Because of Thanksgiving, my dad and sister, I pray for them that they be embraced by God after my mother died, and she died from Parkinson's disease, and
But
we're
that's
going to miss her very much.
absolutely. So we do pray for their strength.
Yes, my dad and sister.
And for those that are known to us and unknown to us, we say Baruch Atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed is God from where the source of healing flows. Well, indeed, I have to say that for Kylie and I, it was such a treat to have you here. We know what brought so many of you here, and we hope that we've been able to lift your spirits and bring memory to the forefront with the irrepressible smile that particularly Drew wore throughout all his life. I can see it right now. And with that smile, why don't we have a closing song? We'll bless our bounty with challah and wine, and then please come join us for some sweets.
Ojevo Shalom.
Beautiful.
Ojevo Shalom Aleinu, Ojevo Shalom Aleinu, Ojevo Shalom Aleinu, ve'akulam. Ojevo Shalom Aleinu, Ojevo Shalom Aleinu, Ojevo Shalom Aleinu, ve'akulam. Salam Aleinu ve'akol ha'olam. Salam, shalom.
Jeff, turn around, why don't you give everybody the kiddush for us? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei bri ha'olam. Amen. Amen. And of course, good challah to eat. Are you going to help me? Oh, good. Come on up. Oh, you get down to your level. Are you hungry?
Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
You want to give one to mommy too and daddy? How about your brother? Is he eating it?
Thank you.
Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Righty, Shabbat Shalom. Would you like
Thank you so much.
Come enjoy. Pretty nails.
Yours are pretty too. Yes, now we said I'm gonna shop.
And you're all dismissed. Like to stay a little longer?
She could sing all her songs. I'm telling you. They teach her in school, she knows them all.
There's nothing like a He's so happy and smiling. My goodness. That holiday. That is for sure.
Thank you. Do you know Casey and the Sunshine Band?
I sure do.
I went to